have done your homework.
Wife, son, come here and watch the news.
Hello, in this program we are going to review this period, the Baroque. I'm going to talk about the Baroque in Spain. The Habsburgs of the 17th century valid government. The main innovation in the functioning of the political system of the Spanish monarchy in the 17th century were the valids, members of the aristocracy in which the king deposited their confidence. The crisis of 1640. The enormous military effort that for the monarchy meant European wars and the demand of sacrifice to the kingdoms that made up the crown by the Union of the Armas proposed by the Count of Olivares in 1632 precipitated the crisis of 1640 with two main scenarios, Catalonia and Portugal. The decline of the Spanish Empire in Europe. The 17th century was witness to the emergence and consolidation of a new international order in Europe. The wars were constant, and because of this, the century was called the Century of Iron. War of 30 Years, 1668 and 1648, and the Franco-Spanish War that culminated in 1659 are good examples of this. Economic and social developments in 17th century. The 17th century was a century of economic crisis in Europe and the Mediterranean in particular, and especially in Iberian Peninsula. In the Spanish crown, the crisis was earlier than in the rest of Europe and serious demographic problems appeared. Cultural splendor. Spanish society was made by aristocratic and religious values of the collective mentality in this century. Also, the manual works were critiqued. Now we are going to talk with our economist, John.
Hi. The economy in the Baroque had an important improvement. The reason was the birth of the stock change. The stock change was created in Amsterdam in the 17th century, when it started to be the commercial center of Europe. It also fomented the capitalism in a feudal system. They used this organization to make treaties with their actions and passes. After, they changed the name to Amsterdam Bourse, where they negotiate the financial actives. Also in Spain happened the first bankruptcy when Felipe II was the king. The first one was on the 17th of April of 1557, when Felipe earned the throne from his parent Carlos I, who had finished the fortune of Castile. The second and the most important one was on the 1576, that concentrated the city of Anvers and the money of the Fouquier family. The third was on November of 1596.
Now we are going to talk with our specialist in culture, Xiang.
Italy is considered the birthplace of Western civilization and a cultural superpower. Italy has been the starting point of phenomena of international impact such as the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Church, the Renaissance, and European integration. During its history, the nation gave birth to an enormous number of notable people. The 17th century was in general an epoch of economic depression, consequence of the long expansion of the previous century caused principally by the discovery of America. The bad crops carried the increase of the price of the wheat and other basic products with the subsequent famines. The trade stagnated, especially in the Mediterranean area, and only it bloomed in England and Netherlands thanks to the trade with East and the creation of big commercial companies, which they laid the foundations of the capitalism and the summit of the middle class. The economic situation worsened with the plagues of pest that destroyed Europe in the middle of the 17th century, which they affected especially to the Mediterranean zone. On the other hand, the hegemonic power in Europe titled from the Imperial Spain to the absolutist France, which after the Peace of Westphalia, 1648, and the Peace of the Pyrenees, 1659, consolidated like the most powerful condition of the continent practically and discussed up to the ascension of England in the 18th century. This way, the friends of the Louises and the Papal Rome were the principal cores of the Baroque culture as centers of political and religious power, respectively, and divisive centers of the occultism and the Contrarreformismo. Spain, though in political and economic decadence, it had nevertheless a resplendent cultural period. It's called Century of Gold, that, though marked by his religious aspect of incontrovertible proselytism, it had a marked popular component, and it took both of the literature and to the plastic arts to levels of high quality. In the rest of countries where the Baroque culture came, England, Germany and Netherlands, his implantation was irregular and with different stamps for his distinctive natural characteristics.
Now we are going to watch an interview of Johann Sebastian Bach made by Violet.
Hello, we are here interviewing Bach. Hello, Bach.
Hi,
When did you start to make music?
I started to make music at the age of 7 years, in 1692.
Which instruments can you play?
I can play the organ, the clavicembalus, the violin and the viola da gamba.
Where did you study?
I studied in the convent San Miguel de Lunenburg.
Who were your parents?
My father was Johann Ambrosius Bach.
In which churches did you work?
I worked in the church of Gothen and Leipzig.
How many children did you have?
I had 20 children. The ones who became musicians were Wilhelm Friedmann Bach and Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Now we are going to talk with our correspondents about the Baroque in general.
Hello, I'm Nico. I'm here in England to talk about the main events that happened here in the Baroque. The first event was in 1603, when Elizabeth I of England died with no heir, with no descendants, and his heir, James I, was crowned. The second event was in 1660, when William Shakespeare, the famous writer, died. The writer, for example, of the Romeo and Juliet or Hamlet. The next thing was the English Revolution that happened between the years 1642 and 1649. And this revolution ended in 1649 because of the death of Charles I. The next event was the Navigation Acts, that were a series of laws that restricted the use of foreign ships for trade between every country of Europe except England. With these acts, England became the first naval power. The last thing we are going to talk about is the thing created by Newton, discovered by Newton, the gravity. Newton was an English physicist, mathematics, philosopher, scientist, and alchemist. He was considered the greatest genius of science.
Hello everybody, I'm here in Spain and I'm going to talk about the main events that happened in the Baroque. First, in 1609, the expulsion of the Moors from the Spanish crown. It was ordered by King Felipe III and carried out between 1609 and 1613. Between 1618 and 1648, the 30 Years' War. This was one of the most destructive wars in Europe's history. First as a religious war, Protestantism against Catholicism, but it also had an important political component, because it was at stake who was in charge in the church, if the Pope, the Emperor, or the princes of the various countries. And finally, we are here in Lisbon, remembering the independence of Portugal from the Spanish monarchy, occurred December the 1st, 1640, by the encouragement of Juan IV of Portugal. The Iberian Union had remained after 60 years.
Now we are going to watch how to make a plate of the Baroque.
Hi, I'm Nico, and I'm going to talk about the gastronomy in the Baroque. The Baroque's food is characterized by delicious and extremely elaborated meals that had normally more than 7 ingredients. The main characteristic of the ingredients is that they are sweet. The food is sweet because it has dried fruits like almonds, raisins, nuts, pine nuts, or other things like honey, and also is seasoned with species like cummins, cloves, laurel, pepper. Plates were, for example, lamb soup, honey glazed chicken, rice a la vizcaína, marsh soup, chicken with vegetables, and other desserts like, for example, fritters.
Hello, and welcome to everyone to Cooking with Nico. Today we are going to prepare one of the most typical Baroque plates, honey glazed chicken. For this one we need chicken, that this is alive, but we can kill and pick the best parts, that are these ones. We also need some white wine, some lemons, some laurel and perejil, and honey, obviously. We need a frying pan. We pick the frying pan and we introduce the ingredients in order. First, we introduce the chicken. After the chicken, we introduce the wine, this. After, we introduce some lemons to give it an acid flavor, and the honey to give the sweet flavor typical from the Baroque. We introduce also some species like laurel and some perejil, like this. We close it and we wait 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes we have something like this.
Were that the news of the Baroque? What a shit.
Yeah, bro.